Hi everyone, today I have with me a new racket. This is from Yonex Arcsaber series, and this was launched quite shortly after the Arcsaber 11 Pro. So this is the Arcsaber 7 Pro. I think the colors on this racket, they're really quite cool, right? There's a lime green with grey and the combo. And as you can see here, I have the blue strings on it, so it's really quite, to me this looks quite stylish. Okay, so the new racket has similar features to the Arcsaber 11 Pro. You got the pocketing booster and the usual super slim shaft and e-booster cap plus. So I'm going to bring this to the court and we're going to see how it performs, and I'll give a review of it, and then after that I'll come back to the studio to do the measurements and see how it performs. If I were to give a summarized version, actually I think this is worth considering, right? I think it's not a bad racket, unlike some other racket we have tried recently. I'm going to compare the Arcsaber 7 Pro together with the Astrox 100 ZZ. This is the usual practice that I have, right? To me, this 100 ZZ is the base comparison model that I will do with all my rackets. So as I'm doing the lobbing, I think the Arcsaber 7 Pro feels quite nice to lob. It feels quite effortless. I can feel like the sweet spot is quite large, so it doesn't take much effort to get the lobbing across. But when it comes to smashing, there is a difference between the Arcsaber 7 and the Astrox 100 ZZ. The Arcsaber 7 Pro doesn't feel as sharp, doesn't feel as steep, but it does feel quite powerful, and the responsiveness of the racket is quite a nice feeling. Again, I want to emphasize that it's different from the 100 ZZ. Doesn't mean it's better or worse. When it comes to the defensive play, it's quite easy to defend with the Arcsaber 7 Pro because it feels quite light. However, I feel like there is a lack of power when I'm trying to flick the shutter up. It also doesn't feel as fast as the 100 ZZ. I think the 100 ZZ is still a bit more reliable. Or when it comes to quick movements, to me the 100 ZZ is still a faster racket, Arcsaber 7 Pro. Let's see what it means when we take certain measurements of the rackets and see how it translated. So as you can see on this screen here, so according to specs that Yonex gave, right, the 100 ZZ has a hyper slim shaft, while the Arcsaber 7 Pro has a super slim shaft. So numerically, right, the Arcsaber 7 Pro has a 7.1 to a 7.3 millimeter shaft, while the Astrox 100 ZZ has a 6.2 to 6.3. I think it translates to how quick I felt when I was trying to defend the smashes. Right. The other thing is that the 100 ZZ is supposed to be super stiff, while the Arcsaber 7 Pro was just supposed to be stiff, right? But very interestingly, when I take the measurements, the difference was only 1 mm, which I think is not a very big difference, right? As you can see here, I hang a 2 kg weight and I measure the displacement caused with the 2 kg weight to see how flexible the shaft has been. The Arcsaber 7 Pro displays by 9.9 cm, while the Astrox 100 ZZ displays the racket by 10 cm. If anything, the 100 ZZ is actually more flexible than the Arcsaber 7 Pro. So this is quite interesting because Yonex says that the Astrox 100 ZZ is extra stiff, right? My overall review of the Arcsaber 7 Pro, I think is quite an okay racket. I think it's better than the Arcsaber 11 Pro. But what I think it lacks is the speed and the power when it comes to defending, which I find that the Astrox 100 ZZ is better in that. So it really depends on you. If you are more of an offensive player, I think this might be more suitable for you. The two rackets that I have is very different. One has a very, very sharp feeling, while the other one has a softer, safer kind of feeling, right? So it really depends what you like. I hope this review has been helpful for you. I hope that the statistics are helpful to give a fairer and more objective comparison of the racket. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!